Welcome to our Immigration Briefing program. Today, we have some intriguing stories for you. First up, authorities in Montreal are on the hunt for 3 Chilean men who made a daring escape from the Laval Immigration Holding Centre. The Canada Border Services Agency has issued arrest warrants, and the search is on. If you have any information, they urge you to contact the police. In another headline, President-elect Donald Trump has laid out his ambitious mass deportation plans, targeting undocumented immigrants, especially violent criminals. He also plans to challenge birthright citizenship by altering the 14th Amendment. This could impact millions of individuals, and the political landscape is heating up as both sides prepare for a significant showdown. Lastly, the Escales Solidaires festival in Paris is shedding light on the personal stories behind the Mediterranean migrant rescues. This event showcases powerful photography and performances, emphasizing the human aspect of migration amid an ongoing crisis. It's a poignant reminder of the lives behind the statistics. Please stay tuned for more detailed coverage of these stories. The Toronto Star reports that authorities are currently on the hunt for 3 Chilean nationals who escaped from the Laval Immigration Holding Centre located north of Montreal. The Canada Border Services Agency has issued arrest warrants for Brian Ulises Moya Rojas, Diego Nicolas Flores Sepulveda, and Daniel Eliseo Gonzalez Irig, who are aged 30, 36, and 29, respectively. While the circumstances surrounding their escape remain unclear, the provincial police have confirmed an ongoing investigation, urging the public to avoid confronting the escapees and to report any information to the authorities. According to The Independent, President-elect Donald Trump has laid out a bold plan for mass deportations, prioritizing the removal of illegal immigrants with criminal records. In an interview with NBC's Meet the Press, Trump expressed his intent to target not just criminals but also to challenge birthright citizenship as guaranteed by the 14th Amendment. He indicated that the deportation of millions of undocumented immigrants could be a reality during his presidency, despite the logistical challenges this would entail. Trump's claims about the prevalence of violent criminals among undocumented immigrants have been met with skepticism, as data suggests far fewer interactions with non-citizens convicted of serious crimes. The Sydney Morning Herald emphasizes the importance of thorough preparation before embarking on an overseas holiday to ensure a hassle-free experience. Key steps include checking passport validity, notifying banks of travel plans to avoid card blocks, and understanding driving requirements at the destination. It also highlights the necessity of travel insurance, packing essentials, and having a backup plan for important documents. The article provides a comprehensive checklist that covers everything from managing in-flight comfort to ensuring home security while away, thereby helping travelers stay organized and prepared for their adventures. Associated Press. In a recent interview with NBC's Meet the Press, Donald Trump expressed uncertainty about the impact of his proposed tariffs on U.S. prices, acknowledging that he cannot guarantee they won't lead to higher costs for American consumers. While he has consistently championed tariffs as a means to bolster the economy, he admitted that the dynamics of trade could change. Trump reiterated his commitment to impose a 25% tariff on goods from Mexico and Canada unless those countries take action against illegal immigration and drug trafficking. He also hinted at potential tariffs on China to combat fentanyl production, emphasizing the need for a fair trade environment. Moreover, Trump suggested that political opponents who have investigated him should face legal repercussions, indicating a complicated relationship with the justice system while promising swift action on immigration, including mass deportations. RFI, the Escales Solidaires festival in Paris and Saint-Denis aims to humanize the narratives surrounding migration through powerful photography, film, and performances. Organized by an NGO that has rescued over 40,000 lives in the Mediterranean since 2015, the festival showcases the personal stories behind the numbers, highlighting the struggles of individuals like an 8-year-old boy named Ali, who endured imprisonment in Libya before attempting a perilous journey alone. As Mediterranean crossings become increasingly deadly, with a significant rise in casualties reported, the festival seeks to bring attention to the humanity of migrants, reminding the public that behind every statistic lies a real person with a story. The South China Morning Post. Singapore police clarified their inaction regarding the arrest of a Chinese national, Yan Xinxing, who is wanted for money laundering despite an Interpol red notice. Yan was detained in Indonesia and is suspected of being involved in a criminal gang linked to online gambling. The Singapore authorities stated that they had not received any extradition request from China, which is necessary for them to act on the notice. Yan, who has been living in Singapore as a permanent resident since before the notice was issued, has been implicated in a larger money laundering scandal involving billions of dollars. His case raises questions about the enforcement of international law in Singapore, which has recently faced scrutiny over its handling of financial crimes. Australian Broadcasting Corporation, Peter Dutton, leader of the coalition, has recently reversed his previous commitment to set a target for net migration before the upcoming election. Initially, he aimed to reduce the annual intake to 160,000 but has now stated that the coalition will assess the economic landscape once they are in power. While the coalition still plans to lower the permanent migration intake from 185,000 to 140,000 over the next 2 years, this does not directly correlate with net migration figures, which soared to over 500,000 last year. The government anticipates a drop to 260,000 this financial year, largely due to increased departures of temporary migrants. Dutton's shift leaves the coalition's migration plans uncertain, especially since they have yet to provide a clear alternative to Labour's proposed international student cap. The Toronto Star, a report from Statistics Canada reveals that investors accounted for 3 out of 10 residential property buyers in Nova Scotia between 2018 and 2020, marking the highest rate among provinces tracked. In Nova Scotia, investor buyers averaged 28.2%, while New Brunswick and British Columbia followed with 20.3% and 24.8%, respectively. The trend is particularly pronounced in rural areas, where investors made up 37% of buyers in Nova Scotia, drawn by attractive tourist destinations. Notably, immigrants represented a significant portion of investors in urban areas, such as Vancouver and Halifax, highlighting a growing trend of investment in real estate among newcomers, despite the challenges they face in the housing market. The Globe and Mail, Mostafa El-Aysar shares his harrowing journey as a refugee in Canada, detailing the stark contrast between his expectations of safety and the reality of his experience. Upon arriving, he was placed in a hotel that felt more like a prison, with strict surveillance and inadequate living conditions. Despite his trauma from political detention in Egypt, El-Aysar faced further challenges in securing suitable housing, as the organization meant to assist him failed to provide adequate support. His search for a home was fraught with scams and obstacles, leading him to question the effectiveness of the resettlement system. El-Aysar's story highlights the urgent need for systemic changes in how refugees are supported in Canada, emphasizing the importance of listening to their experiences to ensure that their dreams do not turn into nightmares. Axios reports on the significance of Temporary Protected Status, TPS, a program initiated by Congress in 1990 to provide humanitarian relief to immigrants from countries facing armed conflict or environmental disasters. Currently, around 834,000 immigrants from 16 countries benefit from TPS, which protects them from deportation and allows them to work legally in the U.S. The program has evolved over the years, becoming a temporary solution in the absence of comprehensive immigration reform. Despite its intended temporary nature, some individuals have maintained TPS status for decades, leading to calls for its re-evaluation as critics argue it has become a form of de facto permanent residency. The Toronto Star shares a heartfelt personal story about the Santa Claus Fund, which provided joy and holiday spirit to a young girl who grew up in a family that did not celebrate Christmas. Each year, mysterious boxes filled with gifts would arrive at her doorstep, bringing excitement and a sense of belonging during the holiday season. After years of wondering about the source of these gifts, she discovered that the Toronto Star was behind the initiative, which has been supporting financially vulnerable children for over a century. This realization brought her full circle, as she now contributes to the same program as a staff reporter, highlighting the profound impact of community support on childhood experiences. The Associated Press covers the rise of Germany's far-right Alternative for Germany, AfD, party, which recently nominated Alice Weidel as its candidate for chancellor in the upcoming election. Despite facing significant opposition from other political parties, the AfD has gained traction and is now the second strongest party in Germany, capitalizing on public discontent with the current government. Weidel's campaign focuses on reviving the economy, reversing climate policies, and implementing strict immigration controls, reflecting the party's controversial stance on these issues. As the political landscape shifts, the upcoming election is poised to be a critical moment for Germany, with the AfD's growing influence raising concerns about the future of democracy and inclusivity in the country. RFI reports on the ongoing crisis of migrant crossings in the English Channel, where the perilous journey has led to the tragic loss of more than 70 lives this year alone. Recently, the French Navy rescued around 85 individuals attempting to reach the UK, highlighting the dangers of this route. Authorities are grappling with sophisticated smuggling networks that facilitate these crossings, often using low-quality inflatable boats. A recent operation in Germany targeted an Iraqi Kurdish smuggling ring, revealing the extensive reach of these criminal organizations. Smugglers charge exorbitant fees, sometimes up to €26,000 per person, while laundering their profits through complex international routes, underscoring the urgent need for action against human trafficking. The Guardian sheds light on AG Recruitment, a British agency that brought Indonesian farmworkers to the UK while allowing them to incur significant debts to unscrupulous brokers. Following revelations of these exploitative practices, the Gangmasters and Labor Abuse Authority, GLAA, revoked AG's license for failing to act properly. Despite AG's claims of innocence and lack of knowledge about the fees charged by third parties, the investigation revealed a breach of licensing standards. Migrant rights advocates have criticized the situation, emphasizing that no workers have received compensation for their debts, and calling for accountability within the agricultural recruitment sector. The Globe and Mail discusses the growing calls in Canada to abolish a rule that permits migrants who evade authorities for 2 weeks to claim asylum. Opposition MPs argue that asylum claims should only be allowed at official ports of entry, especially in light of a report indicating a significant increase in clandestine crossings. Smugglers are reportedly charging up to $45,000 to facilitate these crossings, exploiting vulnerable individuals seeking safety. Critics suggest that the current rule undermines border security and enables smugglers to profit from the situation. Immigration lawyers advocate for a re-evaluation of the Safe Third Country Agreement with the U.S., emphasizing the need for stronger protections for those fleeing persecution. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.